Hello, my name is Jasmine Allen, and today I will be giving a persuasive speech on wearing seatbelts. Everybody wakes up every day and makes a choice. It could be something basic, like, for example, what you decide to put on. Like, what did you choose to wear today? But you also make the choice of, do I want to wear a seatbelt or do I not want to wear a seatbelt? When you get in a car, you have the options. Should I put my seatbelt on or should I just drive? Many people do not like to wear seatbelts. Like, people our ages, and even some adults don't like to wear a seatbelt. But all in all, a seatbelt is really important. We should always choose to wear a seatbelt. When we get in a car, the first thing you should do is put your seatbelt on, because the seatbelt can be the reason why your life is saved if you have a car accident. So when you get in a car, always make sure that if you're the driver, make sure you put the seatbelt on first. Then you make sure that everybody else in the car, passenger, the people that are in the back, are wearing their seatbelt. Make sure everybody in the car has their seatbelt before you start the vehicle or even take off. It is important because if you have an accident, it can be the reason why your life is saved. So, for example, if you are driving down the highway, minding your business, and sometimes it happens. Sometimes you hit somebody or sometimes somebody hits you. Say somebody hits you, impacts you from the side or from the back. It doesn't matter. You have your seatbelt on. Your life will be more than likely, nothing will happen to you. Say you don't have your seatbelt on. Somebody hits you. Then that increases the possibilities of you dying, having serious injuries. For example, if you have a serious accident, your leg gets caught in something, then more than likely you will get amputation. And then you don't want that to happen. If you have a seatbelt, we can avoid all that. And minor, I'm not saying that you won't have like a big, sometimes you have your seatbelt and you still have like major damages, but it just increases your chances. If you have a seatbelt on, you'll be more protected just to avoid any major issues. For example, I know many people, my mom, she was in an accident before. So she was actually lucky because when she had an accident, she had her seatbelt on and she had one of her coworkers in the car, and she was driving and the car accidentally cut her. And then there was a truck beside her and she didn't have nowhere to go. So when the car accidentally swerved into her, she then went into the other car of the truck, and the truck flipped, and then my mom's car started spinning, and that actually could have been a serious accident. But because she had her seatbelt on, her life was actually saved because the seatbelt saved her. Mind you, the truck driver, he landed on the side, but he had a seatbelt on too. And then both of them had a seatbelt on, so that actually made them not have any minor injuries, like major injuries. So therefore, the car that took off, that caused the accident, they never found him. But because my mom and the truck driver were wearing seatbelts, nothing happened to them. But that accident could have been something major. And I've seen it many times when I drive down the interstate and stuff. We see it all the time. People end up with serious damages because they weren't wearing a seatbelt. Sometimes people fly out the car because they're not wearing a seatbelt. Because if you were wearing a seatbelt, that wouldn't have never happened. And I know many friends and people who have died of car accidents because they weren't wearing a seatbelt. But if you were wearing a seatbelt, maybe the people would still be here today. But sometimes we just have to think of things to like reduce the accidents that actually happen. Wear a seatbelt, cause less accidents, cause less deaths, cause less problems with the law. If you accidentally hit somebody and make them lose their life, that's gonna be a problem on that person who killed the person that was in the vehicle. But just to be on the safe side, we want to wear seatbelts, be protective, just try to reduce the accidents that happen on the road. Always, always wear a seatbelt because it is really important. Wearing a seatbelt, you can just be like, nothing's gonna happen. I'm just going down the street. No, you're just going down the street, but when you're going down the street, you can get hit by a car. You were just going down the street, right? But you never know who the next driver is thinking, what the next driver is doing. If the driver that hits you is drunk, you can control how you drive, but you can't control how other people drive. So you always have to be aware and wear a seatbelt. Always, always, always. Always have people in the car wear a seatbelt before you take off. That is the main thing we can avoid